This year, I've been trying to look at things in my home that I've yet to make smart. And as a smart home lover, I can tell you there's not much left to tackle, but there is one thing that I've been eyeing up recently, and that's smart home gadgets that can make caring for my dogs a lot easier. And this is where the Petlibro Granary comes in, which by all accounts is one of the highest rated automated smart pet feeders available at this moment in time. So I wanted to see if that was true, and the short answer is yes. It really is, but with some caveats and certainly a few points where it could be improved, which I'll come on to in a little bit. Now, the Granary is predominantly made for smaller pets like cats and small dogs with its 5-litre storage bin, although it's capable of serving portions large enough for medium-sized pets too, possibly even larger-sized pets. But unfortunately, I don't have a cat. I do have a Monty, however. Despite his significant volume, he's about 97% fur. Underneath it, he's actually a pretty slim dog. I think actually he's classed as a medium dog, so the Granary should provide me with enough portion sizes for it to essentially work for him. Now, the way this works is simple enough. You simply open the top, fill it up with your favourite pet's biscuits, and then close it up again. And that's pretty much it. It can take any type of dry food up to 15mm in diameter. Now, that doesn't sound very big, but it's actually massive. It's about the size of a standard keyboard key. And I don't know of any food that's as big as that. And this is pretty big. Now, once you've done that, you then pair it to your Wi-Fi network to get full smart control within the app. Now, straight away, the first thing that you can do is trigger it to remotely feed your pet. Now, the smallest amount you can dispense is just 10 grams, which looks a bit like this. And the largest amount that you can trigger is 480 grams, which looks a bit like this. And this, and this, and this, and some more. 480 grams was actually way more food than I originally anticipated it would be. What I kind of like here is that it does it bit by bit. Now, my dog will wolf down his entire bowl in about 0.3 seconds flat, and 9 times out of 10 he'll end up throwing it all back up because he's eaten so quickly. So to stop this, we got him one of those maze food bowls that slows him down a bit. But this is actually much better at slowing him down by dispensing handful after handful over a few minute period. It means it forces him to take his time eating his food, minimizing the amount of times that he's going to be sick. Now, the weight that it dispenses is an estimation rather than an exact science. The actual weight of what's being dispensed will vary slightly depending on how dense and how heavy the biscuits are. But by playing around with it and your chosen biscuits, you'll quickly work out what the amount selection in the app results in when it hits the bowl. Now, we measured how much it had dispensed on 480 grams to work out its error. It came out of 493 grams, which I think is a very good accuracy. That's an inaccuracy of just 2.7 grams per 100 grams it dispenses, which in my eyes is more than accurate enough. Now, if you didn't want to manually trigger the feeding cycle through your app to feed your pet, you are able to set feeding times and feeding amounts to create an automated feeding schedule, which is a really nice touch and handy if you work away from home during the day and perhaps you've got a pet that needs smaller meals throughout the day rather than big meals at either end. What's quite funny is that if your pet isn't like mine, who has a literal atomic clock built into him for when it's din-din's time, you can set the Granary to sound out a meal call using its onboard speaker, which can be pre-recorded with your own voice, and you can set that to repeat up to 5 times as well.
Are you ready for some din-dins? Who wants some din-dins?
Now, it's not just an automated feeder. The Granary actually includes a little onboard camera so that you can monitor and check on your pets like you saw a minute ago when we were dispensing the kibble. Now, this for me actually has 2 functions. The first is obviously allowing you to have a peace of mind, giving you the ability to check on your little balls of fluff, or in my case, large balls of fluff, but I think it's also got the added benefit of acting as a security camera, because you get notifications when it triggers movement. Okay, realistically, you aren't going to see much, as it's focused mostly at the bowl and at foot level, but it can notify you if it does detect movement. So if you do get intruders who are the same height as a pair of wellies, then it would be rather functional. But it can record in 1080p, so it's not actually a bad camera. And it also has night vision, although I found the night vision feature to be a little bit useless for viewing the environment and only really good for watching your pets close up. You're also able to take recordings and photos whilst viewing, and it's capable of saving automatic recordings to the cloud if you use their subscription or by using the onboard SD card. Do you know, I really like that they've included the ability to use it without a subscription, and unlike many products that use subscription services, it doesn't appear to hide any integral features behind a paywall, which I'm very pleased about. It's purely an extra peace of mind for you if you wanted to use the cloud subscription as a failsafe to access the recordings. Thing is, on that subject, they've built in tons of safeguards into this device, like the ability to use cloud recordings, that makes it a really good device for offering a peace of mind. The first is obviously the cloud recordings, but it also gives you a full summary in the app of today's feeding amount and how many times your pet has been fed. It also shows when the food level is running low within the bin itself, and you have a little window at the front to see it if you don't get the notification. But it will send you that notification to remind you to top it up, and it also sends you a notification if it jams, which fortunately I haven't experienced yet, so it seems pretty reliable from that aspect. But it also has one last hidden feature and peace of mind, and that is underneath here. But I'll show you that in a second. Now, on the back, they've included USB-C. And this is how you'll power it on a day-to-day basis. They've included a USB-C plug as well, which is great because it offers you a lot more flexibility in where you choose to power it from. But let me pose this to you. What happens if you leave the house before the scheduled feeding time, and then a fuse in the house trips, or perhaps you get a power cut because the workman down the road have just chopped an important cable in half? You'd never even know that poor Mr. Tiddlywinks will probably starve to death in the 6 hours that you're out for. It's very sad. But that's not the case with the Granary, because the secret feature underneath is a little compartment underneath here that can house 3 D-sized batteries which act as an emergency power source and will take over if the mains power drops out. Admittedly, almost nothing uses D-sized batteries these days. I thought they'd gone extinct in the 90s, but apparently you can still get them, and the fact that the Granary has this ability to use backup power is fantastic. It gives you a peace of mind, and I think it's a brilliant design choice from the team over at Petlibro. Now, overall, it's just a well thought out device with a fantastic feature set, but also its design too. The bowl is removable and washable, and it's got LED indicators on the front for low food or low battery or no Wi-Fi, and it's even got a desiccant bag on the inside of the lid which has a silicone seal to keep the biscuits inside fresh and dry as if straight from a brand new bag of biscuits. But there are a few things that I've found worth noting at least. The first is that although I've been using Monty to test this out, it really is designed for slightly smaller animals. Even on the highest volume of biscuits being dispensed, it might not quite be enough for extra large size pets. So to play it safe, if you have an extra large dog that needs loads of food, this might not be enough. There's a few other things as well that I would like to see in future. One is the ability for further smart control. As it is, I can do a lot in terms of individual control by using the app, but it currently doesn't pair up to my wider smart home or offer any further interconnectivity with my smart devices. Now, I think there's probably a limitation here when it comes to the stats and data that Petlibro takes versus what smart home systems like Alexa actually allow you to show or do. So the ball really isn't in Petlibro's court on this one. There's not much more they could do, but one thing they could do perhaps is build some IFTTT integrations to help connect things together. I'd love, for example, if I could set a specific lamp in the house to turn a particular colour if this jams or perhaps runs low on biscuits. Or if you wanted to doubly make sure that your pets got fed, you could program it to be triggered by something like a flick button on your kitchen side. So if you were in the kitchen, for example, you could quickly tap the button to release a portion of the food in front of you and you'd be able to see it happening. Now, interestingly, if you dive into the app, it does look like Petlibro are working on some Alexa connectivity, but not in the way I expected. It looks to me like they're building an option for it to automatically order your pet food when the tank starts to empty, which is really handy. I can't count the amount of times that I've run out and had to specifically go all the way down to the shop to buy dog food, and that's not easy when the nearest shop to me is about a 30-minute drive. Now, how this exact feature will perform, I don't know because it's unfortunately not out yet. But still, it's an exciting concept and I'm looking forward to trying it. But that's not the most exciting thing about this device. The most exciting thing is the cost. The Petlibro Granary is just £95 when I checked whilst writing this review. And obviously, I'll link below to where you can find it and you can check the current price yourself. But I think that is some phenomenal value. In fact, I think it's worth a lot more than £95, and it's rare that I say something is worth more than the price I pay. In fact, I probably shouldn't give Petlibro any ideas, so if you're watching this, just ignore this. Anyway, this is one of those gadgets that takes a particularly monotonous task and automates it, whilst also making that task perform smarter. And do you know what? For me, I think it's a game changer for couples who share a pet. If you have a partner and a pet, I would bet my left nostril that you have at some point not fed your pet because you both think the other person has done it. And you only realise 20 miles down the road when you're out for a day shopping and have to turn and drive all the way back just to make sure Mr. Tiddlywinks gets his num-nums. The Petlibro Granary is a product that immediately removes that confusion in that scenario because it does it for you and you can view it remotely and watch it doing it. It's like a third person in the relationship, which I can't deny is handy to have. Now, over the years, my family has grown with the addition of 2 little milk goblins who are very time demanding indeed, and this has meant that my time and brain power has been stretched ever thinner. And as a consequence, I hate to admit that Monty may have had to wait an extra hour or 2 before one of us realises that we haven't fed him. Well, I'm glad to say that's now a thing of the past. Sure, we might be a long way off Wallace and Gromit's techno trousers, taking my dog for a walk, but the Granary is certainly a fantastic addition to my smart home that automates some of the tasks required to keep my dog alive. It feeds your pets automatically, keeps your eye on your pets, and sort of acts like a security camera, and in future it could order my pet food for me. For £95, if you have a small dog or cat, this is one of the coolest smart home gadgets I've found so far, and at a price point that won't break the bank. What do you think? Do you have a pet? And would it make your life easier? Or am I just being a lazy little sausage? Let me know in the comments below so we can all have a good argument about it. And if you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to hit that thumbs up and that subscribe button. And if not for me, make sure you hit that thumbs up for the good boy. 1,000 likes and he'll get a juicy sausage with his breakfast for an entire week. But other than that, thanks for joining, guys, and I'll see you back for another episode of STU'S Reviews soon.